Sorry about that. Silence is golden sometimes, but not when you're trying to communicate. My apologies. Now I hope you can hear me, and welcome aboard. It's great to have you here. If you're here for the first time, say good day. If you are not in the meeting, then you can do so. If you're watching us on YouTube and would like to join into the meeting, there's a link below us on the YouTube display that will allow you to come into the meeting, and we would only be too happy to for you to be here, and you can chat to us, and you can even talk to us if you want to. If you so desire, simply indicate that in the chat, and you will be unmuted by Angel, who does apologise for cutting us off short yesterday. We were, I was just about to launch into a watch list. I'll share that with you today. It hasn't changed too much, I've got to say. That won't happen again. We've worked out a word queue to say goodbye. Most of you will be familiar with that. All right, big day today. We launch into 2021 with the Crypto Man, Scatman. Shukri will be joining us. That's around about 35, 40 minutes from now. He'll be joining us to update you on the wonderful world of crypto. And of course, unless you've been under a rock, you will know that 40,000 was pretty much the Bitcoin peak. And there'll be a lot of people happy about that, of course. Big pullback down to 30, but there's a big rejection off that 30,000 level, and I want to have a chat to him about that, see if it's actually a buy or do we need to wait. Certainly pump and dump is the theme for Bitcoin over the last few weeks. Very, very interesting. There's Shukri. He'll be joining us in the room in about 30 odd minutes, as I said. Again, if you are watching us on YouTube and want to join the show, join the meeting, simply click on the link below us. And you will be in the meeting and can talk to us if you wish. It's all about you guys, after all. We'll give you a few ideas of what's running around our head. If we are looking to take a trade, we'll certainly be taking trades in the show. And one of those will be the pound US dollar breakout trade, which was a failure yesterday. Now, those of you who are in the show for the first time, this is in beta test mode. We're not saying this is a system to trade at this point, because it's not. It's unproven. And we've had a few goes at it, and we've tweaked it a few times. Ultimately, I've gone back to the trading system that I use to give us a TP1 very quickly, and also a TP2, and then we trail if we do get that breakout, which is what we seek. It's all about the open, and the open is 2 minutes away. So I'll set up the trade. I think I'll share it. No, I don't know that I have shared my screen. Let's do that. All right. So forget these numbers. They're not true. They're yesterday's. I will set up the trade for you now. Again, it is in beta test mode. This is not a proven system. So if you are thinking of trading this, absolute minimal risk you have to put on this, guys. Absolute minimal, until we have proven it to be reliable. Okay, so what we're doing is we're taking the last 3 bars prior to London Open. In this case, we've got here, that's the range, the low, that's the range, the high. So we'll be going long above that bar. We'll be going short below that bar. We'll put our stop loss for the short above the bar that we're trading, and we'll put our stop loss for the long below the bar that we're trading. So in this case, the long will be at 135.678. We'll round that up to 135.68. So let's change that. 135.68 will be our entry for the long. Now the stop loss will be underneath that candle. Probably won't let me do that without getting out of there. And that will be at 135.45. Again, we round down. 135.45 will be the stop loss for the long. 135.45. TP1 we work out as half of the risk. So if, in this case, the risk is 23 pips. So we use 11 pips as our first take profit, and that will be at 135.79. So 1.3579. At that point, should we be fortunate enough to reach it, we take half off the table and move our stop loss the exact amount of pips that we took as profit. In this case, it'll be 11 from entry, giving us a free trade. TP2, we use double the risk. So in this case, the risk is 23. Our take profit 2 will be 46 pips. And that'll take us up to 36.14. So 1.3614 will be TP2. At that point, we will trail 2 bars. I'll explain that for you in just a tick once I've set the sell. The sell, hang on, I'll just change this EA back to there, which will give me the level that I need. 135.20 is the bottom of the range. We'll round that down to 135.19. So that becomes our entry. Our stop loss is above the candle. 135.46 we'll take that up to. So 135.20 to 46. 1.3520. To 1.3546 as the stop loss. TP1, we've got 26 pips of risk, so half of that is 13. 13 below 1.1320. That's not right, 1.3520. What did I say? 13 pips will be 1.3507. So that will be TP1. TP2 will be double the risk 23, so 40, sorry, risk 26, so 52 pips. That will be 134. Did I say 52? I think I did. 168, 134.68 will be TP2. And again, we will trail 2 bars. So just repeating that for those of you who are new, this is a beta test mode trading breakout of Open of London session. And we're trading on pound US dollar on the hourly chart. We're looking for the range of the last 3 bars, which in this case, that's the high of the last 3 bars prior to London Open. That's the low of the last 3 bars prior to London Open. I'll get rid of the EA now. There we go. TP1, I'll put that on. Actually, I better place the trades, hadn't I? That's a good idea. Buy stop. Again, completely minimal risk, guys. You know, micro lots on this only if you want to trade. If you don't, then that's perfectly fine. Wait till we've got it revving in the right direction and giving us consistent profits before you do. That would be my counsel. 135.68 is the entry on the buy. This is a one cancels the other, by the way, guys. If the long is triggered, cancel the short and vice versa. 135.45 is the stop loss on the long. There we go. That one's sorted. Now the short. As always, will be a sell stop at 135.20. With a stop loss at 135.45. And that'll do us. Okay. Why can't I see the stop loss on the sell? Have I got it in the wrong place? Interesting. Let me just check that. Stop loss on the buy is right. The stop loss on the sell I cannot see. Sell stop loss 35.45. Are they in the same place? They're in the same place, roughly. Okay, there's only a pip difference. That's why I can't see it. Righto, guys, that is the setup for the breakout trade. It will be triggered long at 135.68. It'll be triggered short at 135.20. And again, if you are looking to trade this, you need to cancel the short if the long is triggered. You need to cancel the long if the short is triggered. And you need to take these profits out exactly where I'm asking you to do if you are going to trade it. Righto, any questions on that? We will deal with, no problems at all. Okay, Shukri's waiting to get in. I think that's probably been fixed by Angel. I'll have a look at the chat box because there seems to be a fair bit going on in there. Okay. Hello, Lewis. Hi, Simon. Shukri's in, cool. What else have we got up here? Hi, Paresh. Hi, KT. Okay, I think I've got everybody covered at this moment. Again, if you want to chat to us, guys, simple. Just put your hand up or say, hey, I want to say something. And Angel will unmute you, and you can ask any question that you so choose. You can also put that, of course, in the chat box. Now, one thing that didn't happen yesterday is I didn't give you a watch list, which is kind of something that I like to do because that means I'm getting ready to trade something, whether it's now, tomorrow, or next week is irrelevant, but I'd like to tell you just in case something does crop up. So let's start with EuroCAD, shall we? Now, I did place an order yesterday, but it's on the monthly chart, right? If you want to follow that and are patient enough, we could be waiting 3 weeks to get into that trade. We may never get into that trade because we are going sideways after all. But I do like the fact that we have come once again off the top of this range. Those of you who have been with us for what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months will know that I love this double top. And I now have on the monthly chart a potential lower high. That's why we're trading that bar. We've got our entry underneath it. We've got our stop loss above it. I haven't got it on this chart. I should put it on, shouldn't I? I'll do that now. So it is a sell stop as always. I'll be trading this at 0.5%. And the entry is at 1.5394. The stop loss is at 1.5906. The big stop loss, guys, but we're on a monthly chart, right? And TP1's not spectacular, I must admit. Why is that not letting me do that? Oh, because I'm on this small account. Let me do that much. Now I need a level, 1.5394. And 1.5906 is intact. Okay, so there's a big stop loss on this, right? But bear with me. Here's our entry. Here's our stop loss. So we've got 500 odd pips of stop loss. Our TP1 is here, which will get us about 200 pips. Is that right? 53.94, 50, yeah, 190 odd pips, right? So nothing spectacular there. You're not going to make money. You're not going to get rich on that one, let me assure you. But our TP2 is way down here. So that's 1,000 pips. So that's starting to get a little bit more interesting. Now, if we achieve TP2, which is something that I would expect to happen if we do get clear of this area, then we're in a free trading situation because our stops would be at entry and we would have banked twice, and we're looking for something down here somewhere. So 2,500 pips away. So don't be, say, wow, that's a big stop loss. And yes, it is. But we're on a monthly chart, don't forget. And we could be in this for a long, long time. Ash has joined me, but shut up, Ash. I'm going
What's
to
going
get
on?
this watch list. I'm going to get this watch list out no matter what.
Yeah,
Right.
okay. All right, mate. I'll be back in 2.
Right. That's 2 minutes. Will be good. Righto, guys. Let's go very, very quickly. Euro US dollar. I'm expecting this to fall. We've got three black crows sitting here. What I want to see here is price pull back to the weekly pivot, give me a lower high, and I'm looking for a short. Cable, pound US dollar, the one that we're trading the breakout on. I can't for the life of me see why we would be looking for longs on pound US dollar, but I know some people are, and good on them. Happy days. I can totally see it here, up around the 136. But as soon as it gets there, gee whiz, I'm very, very keen to trade it short. So I'll leave that one there. Aussie US dollar, I'm a massive bull and have been for quite some time, but I also see the possibility for the US dollar to rally at the moment, which will, of course, have the reverse effect on the Aussie. I expect a bigger pullback than what we've seen already, and the monthly pivot looks like a likely candidate. If not, then probably down to here around about the 74 cent mark. So bigger retracement is what I'm looking for on Aussie dollar. I don't want to trade it long just yet. At least not in the new year. I'm waiting for a deeper retracement. I'm only doing the majors here, guys, and I've got a couple of others that I mentioned this morning to my group. The Kiwi, pretty much the same as the Aussie, except that it has, in fact, gone very, very close to the monthly pivot. I'm not sure why this would rally faster than the Aussie, to be honest, and I'm very wary of it because it is at that level. Keeping a close eye on it, but I don't really want to trade this long at the moment, given the propensity for the US dollar to rally. So just careful eye on that one. Speaking of US dollar rally, this looks perfect to me, absolutely spot on. We're coming back to the weekly pivot. We expected this. I'll give you a quick look at the dollar index and explain to you why I think what I think. And what I think is the dollar today is likely to pull back off its rally, and it's been a pretty strong rally today. But I do expect it to pull back off its rally, and here's why. We've got a trade line sitting here, and we've reached that. We've reached it very, very quickly, and we've got no pullback. We've got a left shoulder, we've got a head, we're looking for a right shoulder. So I'm expecting the dollar to pull back into this area here, back down around the 90 cent mark, and then go again to hit the 91 mark at least, maybe even up to the 92 mark. So on that basis, I do see good reason for this to pull back today. And if it came to that trade line, perfect confluence with the weekly pivot, snuck its way underneath it, then climbed back above it and retested it, that's probably the trade of the month. That one right there, if it were to set up. But it's got a lot of work to do. Note that there is a beautiful double cross of the monthly pivot. Tempted actually to put an entry there, but I think we're going to get a better one. So let's wait for that on dollar CAD. Dollar yen is not dissimilar. Wouldn't like to be buying this at this point in time, that's for sure. It's got to come back, and weekly pivot, monthly pivot look to be the catching point. Catching point for that, and then we can look to trade it long. Dollar Swissy, speaking of double crosses on the monthly pivot, if you want to know what a double cross is, I'll explain that to you later if we've got time. But simply, we've got a bullish decisive bar that has crashed through the monthly pivot. Then we've got a bearish decisive bar that has done exactly the same in the opposite direction. That generally is an automatic entry long for me, in particular if it had cleared an area of resistance. I don't know that that's the case, frankly. And again, I'd like to see some pullback, given what I said about the US dollar. I think it's got room to pull back, and then we can look to trade it long. Now, today, I will give you a couple of ideas that I'm looking for. One is pound Aussie. I wanted to see it break above this ascending triangle, come back into the range, and give us a lower high. That looks to be happening. So a daily pivot test here, lower high here. This is a 4-hour chart. Could happen on a 30-minute chart or an hourly chart very easily. I'll be looking for a lower high here as a false break of the top of that range and trading it short. CAD yen. This line here was the level that I thought we might be able to find a lower high. Trading the double top, lower high scenario, if that is the case, and this candle were to close, or I don't really care where it closes unless it's up here. I would care then. But if it kind of closes at half its value, then I'd be very tempted and probably will look to trade that short. We'll keep our close eye on that as the day progresses. Finally, Swissy Yen's exactly the same boat. We've come off the top of the range. We're looking for a lower high in this vicinity here. So I'd love to see that happen. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my watch list. Took me 2 days to get there, but we're there. Ash has joined us. G'day, mate.
Hey, mate. How you doing?
Hey,
How's
mate.
things, good?
I'm okay. Yeah, look,
Good stuff.
Never seen the world brighter.
Oh, well, it's always nice to hear, mate. Always nice to hear. I think there's a short-term trade on the euro dollar long, which I'm going to show you guys now. I'm a bear, which gives me a little bit of room. So let me just bring my screen to you. Gives me a little bit of room to play with it. So that's what I'm doing here. I am playing with this. So I've got shorts on in the euro dollar at these particular positions here. So it actually makes me net in profit right now. But I've just put a little long on here because it means that if the market goes down, I've frozen up my profits at this particular point. Now the profits aren't deep, but it is in profit. So I can have a little bit of a play with this now. And if it goes down, then I'll just close everything. I'll close the long, I'll close the shorts, and I'll just I'll take the profit that's in the bank. However,
so it sounds like we might be on the same page. You're thinking there might be a little bit of a pullback on the dollar.
I think so. I mean, one of the reasons that I think there should be a pullback is that the weakness in the dollar has been so deep that I would be surprised if all of a sudden people just switch their position completely. Some profit taking going on up here is likely. Now it does look like they've started taking that profit when we look at these bars here. Almost an engulfing bar there, very, very negative at the top. Another one backing it up. So we got 3 black crows coming down here, which is a negative sign for the euro dollar. Now
we are on the same page. I said that earlier myself.
Right. Okay. So it looks like we may well be at a point of support here. Now, if we were to bring in the pivots, then we can see also that we are at the monthly pivot here. So this is why I'm looking for just a little bit of upside. Now, if we kind of analyze the potential area that could come to, and we'll put in a few lines here. So there's this low here. I'm on a daily chart here. So there's this low here, which I'll bring in here. But look at that support level here as well. This low down here, which is on the 2nd of December, and you extrapolate that right to the 9th, and then just drop that line in. So that suggests that this area is a hold area. So if it starts to close below this point, then the trade is going to come off the table. But this looks like a bounce area. And rather than leaving the trade come down and potentially bounce to the upside, which means that the profits that I've actually got in the bank right now start to diminish and deplete, I'd prefer to see if there's a little bit of a bounce going on. So, and I won't trade a long bounce, but if I could get a bounce to around about 122, maybe 122.10, something like that, then I think that would be a decent place to take this long off the table, and then just see if it will come down to another particular point. But let's see what the likelihood is and where the confluence on this one is. And I'm just going to start by drawing a horizontal level along here. That looks to me like the first most obvious point that the structure is currently at. Now, I'm looking at structure in this particular way. So let's have a look at this on this here. Now, obviously, if you haven't got a short in the market, you may not choose to play the long because this is bearish. Good morning, Steph. Yes, it's rejected the pivots. Rejected the daily pivot you're talking about, right? Yes, it has. You're absolutely right. Now, if we bring that in, yeah. So it's rejected this daily pivot. You're absolutely right. Now, but the key with this is that it's only the daily pivot. So it may not break to the upside today. It may just get caged in this particular point today. Now let's have a look what that would look like. If we think about the daily pivot is currently at 120, 170, let's call it, just to make it easy. and 121.50. So 121.70, 121.50 is our pivot areas. Now let's change this back to clean, and I'm going to put in my own pivot areas here. So 121.70, is one area, which is about there, and 121.50.
G'day, Andrew. Thanks for joining, mate. If you want to come into the meeting proper, there is a link below you on the YouTube display. If you want to come into the meeting proper, where you can ask questions.
So let's change this to a daily pivot color. My particular daily pivot color. Now the way I do my colors is I do red, white, and blue. So red is the monthly, white is the weekly, and blue is the daily, and that's because it's the colors of the Union Jack, which is why I've chosen red, white, and blue. It's somewhere around about there, isn't it? Might be a little bit below. So the monthly pivot's somewhere around about here. So I'm gonna mark off my own monthly and weekly pivot, just so we can look at this on a clean chart. Now let's look at what's going on here. So yeah, you're absolutely right. These are where the pivots are sitting. But let's have a look at the price action to start with. This is our trend line here. In fact, there's a little pattern here. I'm going to change this back to white. This is our trend line here, and if we double this line up, then we can see that there's the pattern. So there's a little channel that we've broken above. I'm going to measure this channel. Just take my ray off there. Measure this channel. The breakout is there. So that gives me this area here, 121, around about 121.90. So I'm going to mark that area off as a potential area for taking profit. So firstly, the channel's been broken to the upside. Yes, you've got the daily pivot here. The channel break to the upside. All I've done there is a measured move. Now, do you understand what I've done there, Steph? I've taken the width of the channel, and I've measured the width of the channel. And I've measured this here with the width of the channel. I've taken the top end of the channel to the low end of the channel. It's a little bit lower actually. There's the channel width, and I've just dropped the measurement of the width on the bar that broke through. So this is the breakthrough bar. So I'm starting the low end on the breakthrough bar. That's where I'm measuring it there. Okay, and that would give me this particular target price. And you can see that this particular target price, in accordance to the 1 hour chart, is pretty good. There's some resistance here, and potentially some resistance here as well. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now let's just have a look at a Fibonacci retracement as well. So this is the trend to the downside. It came all the way down there from the highest point of the trend to the lowest point of the trend. And look at that, 38.2% retracement. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? So that is starting to suggest. So where I had a potential target a bit higher, this looks like a first target. You know, and I'm in truth, I'm not that interested in trying to get a whole bunch of money out of the long if it happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag that point up to my first target there. So I'm going to use that as my take profit all. Now it could go beyond. But remember, I'm a bear, so I'm only if I can take some money out while I'm a bear to the upside, a little pop to the upside, I'll be really happy. So that's the first sort of thing. Now we're only looking at this on an hourly chart. So the analysis on the hourly chart is that we've broken through this channel. We've got a monthly pivot down here. We've got a caged in area on the daily pivot, which is a little bit problematic for the day, but it doesn't mean that it won't get there over the course of the next 2 days, or even today. It might break through today, no problem. And I've just kind of like picked an area that would be a potential target. Now, if you decide to take this long without having a move to the downside, great point to get in long on the monthly pivot, and you've got a stop down here. So that's around about 24 pips, let's call it. And there's a 35, 37 pip move to the upside. So it's around about a 1.5 to 1 trade there. And at that point, my suggestion would be that you take off around about 3/4, not half. I'd take off a little bit more than half, because at that point you've got you're fighting the short-term trend to the downside potentially. So that's the first thing. Now, if we go to the daily, have a look at this on the daily. I'm going to delete these lines now because we don't need them. We got our targets in. Go to this on the daily. Now the daily does suggest that it could go a little bit higher. So there could be a little bit more room there. And all I'll do with the daily is I'll take my profit on this particular point, but I will probably add to a position to the downside if it gets up to around about the 122 mark and possibly higher. Now we can see that there's a little trend line down here as well. You see these bars? This would have caused a trend line. I mean, you're going to have to just take that down a little bit and see what area that suggests. So we're just adding as many technical lines as possible to give us an idea of where this could get to. Now, if it was to get to it in the next session, this is the point here. And that's going to be just above that 122 area. So I'll mark that off and see what that looks like. There's my area there. There we go. Switch it back to the daily. Yeah, near enough that point. Unlikely that it happens in the next session. Let's just check it on the weekly as well. Now the low of this weekly bar looks interesting. Last week's opening price there. Let's just have a look at what that looks like on the daily. So that coincides with this low here. So that looks good as a potential overall target or overall place to go short. 122.13 is about. So let's call it 122.10. Let's bring this back to this trend line again. So now if this was to happen over the course of the next bar instead, that moves the line a little bit lower. It's going to be around there, isn't it? So actually, that point there is where I'd like to, where I'd really like to get another short in the market. But I won't aim for that. So if you were taking this long, you'd want to be in here on the long side. First take profit at 121.90. Second take profit 122.13. Let's say 122.10. Now there was something else I was going to mention on this, but what is it?
I'll give you another thing to mention. How about 122.70?
Let's have a look.
As a good place to short as well. That would be probably your last place to short, I would imagine.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. My issue with that would be that it's going to break through this this 4-hour trend line. Mm-hmm. And what may happen at that particular point, you know, I don't think I would take a short on there. I think it might start to look a little bit different. But let's see what happened. But that would suggest that it could do this and that.
Looks interesting on the daily chart, that level.
Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Ah, yes, it does, mate. Yeah, now I see what you mean. Okay, so that would be a very interesting point because with that, I'm going to mark off that 122.70 again.
That's my ultimate short, right?
I like it a lot.
It's got a lot of work to do to get there, you know.
Yeah, it has, but actually, you know, if we're going to be a bit more conservative, that would give us this, and I'm guessing this is what you're looking at: neckline.
Yeah, sure.
Right shoulder. And down, yeah, that does look really good. Now I've got a position in there
3
already.
Indians, it's all there.
Yeah, that does look good. Well, I like it. I like it as a potential. The other thing I was going to mention, the last thing I was going to mention was, if we think about trigger bars. Now, this may not happen, but if we think about trigger bars, what do we like as a trigger bar? And what we like is like a low test bar or a small body bar. If we think about what's going on down here, if this does get trapped by the daily pivot, this bar is going to look similar to it's going to look now, or it might even look a little bit like that in the end, if it ends up at the high. Now, that is a buying bar. So yes, the daily pivot is caging it in, and it might not go through the daily pivot today, but tomorrow the daily pivot is going to move. If this bar ends up looking like this, then that would be a trigger bar for some upside potentially. So it might be tomorrow that the buyers come back into play, and they might well push it to this point, or as Jeff says, they might push it to this point. Now that would be a really attractive place to go short, and I may well wait for that. But what's more likely is that I'll probably get in short a bit earlier, and I might add a little bit more up at that point as well, because I think the broader pattern is probably that, where we see You know, this is a potential left shoulder, this all is the head, and then a right shoulder coming in here.
Sure.
I'm wondering whether we've got a slightly bigger picture. Now that doesn't give us that much downside. It's going to be around about that for the downside, which is this. Now that leads us to about that point there, which if we clear the drawings and just come in here, what is that? Yeah, look at that. I mean, that's a pretty good spot to aim for. So 120, I'd say, mate, looks pretty good. I mean, that's been a bit more conservative than the measured move gives us, but around about the 120 area, maybe slightly below would be a target, I think. Looks like this band in here between 120. There's the 120 there. That's 120, which is the highest point here, right down to there. So that's the band of the target for the downside, in my opinion. But what would be great is if we see this shooting star turn into an evening star pattern, as a 3-bar pattern by the end of the week. So I'm just looking for a little bit of upside for a day or so. Maybe you know, if we consider what, you know, why would well, Jura, I'm a seller of the euro, but I have got a long, so I've got the shorts on. All these are shorts, but I've got one long position on just to play a little bit of upside as well. See if I can get a little bit of upside out of it first, and then see if it'll drop. Longer term, I'm a seller. On the short term, and I really mean for the next couple of days, I'm a buyer. After the next couple of days is done, then I'm switching positions back to the downside again. And if we consider
100% on the same page, mate. 100%.
Yeah, and do you know, if we think about the psychology of what might drive it, there's probably nothing fundamental that is going to drive it. But look what's happening over the next couple of days. ECB President Lagarde speaks out. Is the market going to sell the euro before she speaks? Probably not heavily anyway. CPIs from America is by the by, in my opinion. But we got Brainard speaking as well on Wednesday, and more importantly, we got Fed Chair Powell on Thursday. So I think Thursday is the potential move that we're going to see some strength in the dollar. Before that, I think there's just a little bit of upside that we might be able to squeeze out of it, and it is a might, as everything is in the market. Well, you know, I don't know what's going to happen, but my play right now, Jira, is that I've got a longer term position on the shorts, but my short term position is that that I think we could get a little bit of a pop. So I'm just playing that pop, seeing if I can get some money out of it before it really does start to fall.
And in relation to your slingshot questions, I will deal with those when we've heard from the Scat Man, which is coming up very shortly.
Yeah, and unfortunately we can't play your music, Shukri, which is sad.
Pump and dump.
Yeah, well, mate, what has been going on? This is quite amazing, I think, the crypto market, and I've got friends. Yesterday, I had a friend frantically ringing me. He said to me a few days ago, he said, right, he bought Ethereum at $600, and he said, where will it go to? And I said, well, it's likely to retrace at 1100, but then, you know, after it's done that, then 1400's on the cards. And he's ringing me yesterday, panicking because he didn't close his position because Ethereum popped to the downside, you know, quite aggressively. And I was saying to him, man, look, you trade cryptocurrencies. Do you not understand the pump and dump? You just live through it, enjoy it, wash it up. You know, it's that's what cryptocurrencies do, right? Every time it pumps, it dumps down. That's the time to add to positions. And I was going to do that yesterday with Cardano, mate, but it didn't come quite as far as I would have liked. I would have liked it down to 17. I think Cardano dropped to about 24, so it wasn't anywhere near as low as I would have liked. But who knows? Maybe it comes down again. Cardano, by the way, is back up again, another 8% today. So drop of 25% yesterday, though. Nice big drop yesterday.
So what you see now is money from that Bitcoin sell going into altcoins, because the altcoins are now pumping even more.
Okay. All right. Well,
share the screen here.
Talk us through this, mate. I've got a couple of
Okay, go to first.
Couple of coins I want to ask you about. I want to ask you about Stellar, and whether it's viable. And I want to ask you about, now, what was the other one? There's another one. God, can't remember what it's called. It's not one of these, not one of these here, and it's not on a main. Not on a main platform. So I'll have to think about what it was called, and I'll ask you in a minute. But yeah, you go ahead. You do your thing, mate. Give us some knowledge.
Okay, so we're back. Yesterday was a dump day, but that's normal, guys. That's cryptocurrencies, pump and dump. And now you can see why I'm always nervous when people ask, what's the entry, what's the TP, what's the stop loss? I can give anything. If a day like yesterday happens, two things will happen. The best thing is your stop loss is hit. The worst thing is that because you're on leverage, your account will blow. And that's really what happened yesterday. You know, cascading losses, stops being hit everywhere. What you call it is liquidations happening everywhere, and worse becomes worse. And once that's clear, guess what? It goes up. I already said yesterday, in fact, I told my students, just be ready for this customary 30 to 40% drop from the top to until yesterday. I think it was 28.77, but pretty much there for our first 30% drop. But look now, the dominance is 68.7, meaning the smaller coins have room to run. And look how they are recovering now. Bitcoin 8, Ethereum 8. Okay, those are the main guys. XRP, which was sued, 10. And look at the rest here. Okay, Polkadot 11. Stellar, you asked about this. Ash 20. Where's Cardano? Cardano. See, we are lucky that this, right? That Jeff 12.97. See, Cardano went up because we reinstated Charles Hoskinson before the end of last year.
Oh, he's the man. He's the man, mate. I've got a lot of faith in Cardano. I love it. Yeah. You know, Cardano is great. I think it's a great coin.
It's the best design system. And what do you say, Jeff? What? A range? A pump is the road to another range, right? Pump another range.
That's right, mate. It's just a roadmap to the next range.
Hey, that's why we say this is Jeff's coin. What do you do here? You wait for a range. What do you want to do? Look at that. That's
a
nice,
beauty.
right?
That's a beauty. I want Cardano. Right? Look at that, down to around about. I wanted it at 17 cents, but looking at that, I might go for 20 cents. 20 cents down. Yeah. I'm a buyer of Cardano again. I'm going to add more to the position.
Pattern. Just look at this pattern.
Yeah,
this is the thing about cryptocurrencies, guys. Trading this is very, very difficult. You need a lot of high skills. But let me show you now. I think when we talked about this, Ash was like 10, right? And if you had taken this trade at 11, you would have made 3 times in 6 months.
I'm in, mate. I'm in.
Yeah, that in anybody's book is good, but you gotta be like Ash. You know, don't ask where he's gonna go next. You don't know.
No, I haven't got a clue. The key is that the thing is with it is that cryptocurrencies go up so violently, you don't have to risk the house on it. You know, anybody that thinks that they're going to make a whole bunch of money out of cryptocurrencies by dumping into it, then you're going to have a lot of sleepless nights. Not necessary. Not necessary at all. Cardano could go. I'm gonna say Cardano is going to go to $2, mate.
Let's see the previous high. Oh, I can't have it here. Yeah, but I think it's around there, 165, somewhere there. Yeah, it's really somewhere there, I think.
Well, no, Cardano's previous high. I'll tell you where it is actually. It is 135. 135. Yeah, so I'm going for $2.
So just say that, you know, one of the most famous guys in cryptos, his name is Alex Michinsky. He is a very smart guy. He was part of the designer of the IPv6. And his company, Celsius, went up like 100 times. Simon, don't remind me. Simon is not going to remind me of that. Went up 100 times. And he says that all the altcoins this year are going to make new highs. But we don't know when. And Ash will tell his friend, I don't know when.
Do you know what I find interesting as well, Shukri, is that all the altcoins go up. I was talking to Mario last night about this stuff, and I was saying that, you know, he did a lot of work. And to be fair, the only reason I know anything about Cardano is because I've just been stealing all his brain ideas about Cardano, so I understand it now. But he did a lot of work on Cardano, and he was sort of saying to me, the thing is, you know, all these coins go up, and you end up sort of like getting to the point where you think, well, do I really need to do all the work on a cryptocurrency? Because they all go up anyway. And I looked and I said to him, no, mate, look, there is some sophistication here. If you look over a longer term period of cryptocurrencies, then you will see where the sophistication is. Cardano over the last year is up 690%. So almost 70%, 700% in a year. Stellar, 500%. Ripple, 40%. So it just goes to show there is a big disparity. One's up 700% in a year, one's up 40% in a year. Dash, 100% up. Bitcoin Cash, 85% up. Ethereum also up near 700%. So, Tron up at 100% in a year. So there is some sophistication. If there is some validity in picking the correct coin. Yes, they will all go up, but if you do some work on this stuff, you can do really well by picking the right coins here.
Yes, correct. And that's why I think this is Jarrell's favorite coin, right? During the first wallet training, I told you guys my favorite coin is Polkadot. Britain. Okay, I still like the British blockchains, although they're not the most innovative. The most innovative is from Australia, okay? Ash is from Aussie. But this has gone up 2.5 times, since we bought it. But I just want to show you Bitcoin before I go. Now, and we're going to say the same thing on Ethereum, the most simplest way. A reminder, guys, what do we say? CME gap. Let me get this out to the daily now. And then we'll talk about, Ash, I'm going to talk about Stellar in my next show on Thursday next week, right? This is in the Biden. Yeah, this is like the Biden coins. Don't miss it, guys.
Stellar, just so I understand, Stellar is the can I say the Arab coin? Is that the right terminology?
No. Stellar, Ripple?
Yep.
The co-founder of Stellar is from Ripple. The founder of Stellar is from Ripple, former Ripple.
But is Stellar the only one that they have in kind of Arab countries that they are allowed to?
No, that's a different coin. That's ABB or something.
Okay.
Not the Swedish group. The other one. Yeah,
all right.
Stellar is good because they look at it as a replacement for Ripple.
Okay. Okay, all right. Well, Ripple's been in the bad news recently,
yeah,
hasn't it?
But look at this, guys. Before I go, very important. Look at this, right? 1st January, 2nd January, 3rd January. This will happen again and again. It's going to happen on Ethereum too. On February 8th when it gets listed. Saturday, Sunday. Take this out. What do you see? Gap. What do you do when you have a gap? CME gap. It goes back down, fills the gap, zooms up again.
Yeah.
And when you ever see this, you're like, hey, that's normal. Yeah, your friends might be going crazy. Guys, if you have friends on crypto, shut the phone off during
yeah, well, do you know what? I really don't like it when people ask, especially friends, ask me advice on what they should do on anything, because you're inevitably at some point you're going to be wrong. Because I said to him a retracement at 1100 and it went up to 1250, and then he's sort of going ha, you were wrong, and then a day later it dumps, and I'm like, I can't tell you the exact price. All I'm telling you is that there should be a retracement here,
And the worst thing, Jeff and Ash. You can't really tell, because what if they were on leverage? A mistake would cause them to be blown out. They don't tell you that they're on leverage, Nobody tells you that.
Oh no, my friend's not sophisticated enough to know anything about leverage, so he's all right. He's safe enough.
Yeah, and what you mentioned just now was about beta. Yes, that's why I am I'm trying to brainwash my guys in class now, that now we have to adjust for the next phase, because the next phase, the alts are going to explode like 80 to 100 times. So we have to change our focus. Do we want the 3 or 4, or we want the 80 to 100, 50, 80 to 100? And I'm glad it's Brian Lee here. Thanks, Brian. You're the man, because I like Brian Lee. You know why, Ash and Jeff? He said, I'm disappointed it went up only 4 times. Yeah, right.
Oh, bugger.
Yeah, Brian, that's like the worst gain ever. I'm disappointed too, dude.
What a nasty bloody thing it is. Now listen, guys, you'll note
he was in Roya and he's like, it only went 4 times. Okay. But it's okay, because for that one that only went in 4 times, they have like a staking now. It gives like 72%. Okay. But that's a crypto man. So he is now being developed into a crypto man 4 times. Okay, good. That's it for now, guys.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you very much.
Now, everybody in the room, listen to this. You will note that I haven't said a word during this last 10 minutes, right? That's because I've got absolutely no idea on crypto. What are they called? Cryptocurrencies. And I want to challenge you, Shukri, this year, whilst we're talking on a Tuesday, to me play the dummy. That's easy for me, right? Me play the dummy, and you get me on the road. Not so much to trading cryptos, because I'm really not interested in trading cryptos, but I'm very interested in getting the investment side of cryptos into gear. So let's, and I don't,
do you prefer Aussie coin or British coin?
Now, what would you think?
I think it's this, because the Aussie coins are more innovation. Nothing is free. Like Jeff, innovation means more risk. The British coins are more steadier, means you can have a better sleep at night and do your bamboo thing. It's like, we don't want you to always look at it, oh no, what's happening now? But the Aussie coins are good. But that's Aussie for you.
Well, like I said, I don't want to trade them. I just want to have a nice little investment bubbling along in the background. So that's your challenge, is to get me up to speed, and hopefully those in the room can.
And my recommendation will be Polkadot.
Still, okay.
Still
we spoke about that many moons ago.
Yes, correct. I think it's still low here at 2.5 times. Look, Brian is already upset at 4 times, so 2.5 times is like not bad.
That'll do for now. Yeah, that'll do for now. Now, listen, Shukri, obviously you do your own thing outside of this show. How do people follow you?
I have Facebook. I have and it's all in my stories in Facebook. Okay, I also have a Facebook group, not for trading, but the Facebook group that I have is more for journal. Journal of what I'm thinking. I put it there, and for my students, I send them videos every day, because that's how fast it's changing, guys. It is like massively changing, and but they get videos every day. But it all starts from my thinking. If I have something, I don't have a journal like you, Jeff. I just put it in my Facebook group. I just put it there. It's called Build Multi-Asset Portfolios Free. And that kind of puts in my thinking. If I forget something, I just look for it there. That sets my thinking. Yeah.
And the trigger is, Luke, I am your father.
That is correct. That is the password.
That's the password. All right. Thanks, buddy. Have a great weekend. We'll catch up with you next week, right?
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
So, mate, now we really want to encourage. The reason we've switched to Zoom meeting is because we want to encourage people to come on and have a chat. So, anybody want to come and have a quick chat? Tell us how your year started. Tell us what you're thinking. Any trades you're looking at. You can share a screen if you want. Talk us through what you're doing. And we want to make this Trading Buddies more about everybody. This is your show. It's not. We don't want it to be Jeff and our show. It's a Trading Buddies, because it is all of our show. So anybody want to come on and have a quick chat? Literally
Trading Buddies, right?
Absolutely right, mate. Yeah, absolutely right. So only a few minutes. You want to come on for a few minutes, just maybe just to say how you're doing. Not don't even have to talk about trading if you don't want to. But anybody want to come on, then just stick your.
And starting next week, there's a big echo somewhere. I don't know where that is, but someone's got the mic open.
There we go. There we go. Just it was Lewis. I don't know. Lewis, you want to come on? I don't know whether you want. Come on. I don't know. His mic was unmuted, but I'm not sure if he wanted to come on or whether it was just a mistake. So I've just muted you just for right now until you let us know. But anybody wants to pop in the room and just say howdy and let us know what you're thinking, what you want to do, and you want to talk about a trade that we're thinking of entering, then just stick your hand up or put a post in the chat box. Come on and have a chat to us, because we do want to make this a lot more.
You've heard of Tinder, right? Everyone's heard of Tinder.
Yep. Yeah, it's probably a bit old school these days. I don't know, but go on.
Oh, is it? There's a new one, is there?
I don't know. I don't know what. Tinder's so long in the tooth now. You expect that kind of space to have. I bet it's just taken off. All the dating stuff during lockdown must have taken off. It has to have.
Well, here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give you guys the opportunity to buddy up, right? So look, and I've got to go back to, gee whiz, was it even this century? Yeah, it was. It was early in the century though, where I was left alone after doing a technical analysis course, right? And I was completely lost. And had I had somebody there or there or there or anywhere that I could have said, hey, what do you think about this? Do you reckon I'm on the right track here? Or am I completely, going off my brain by thinking this is the right way to go about doing shit? And that's why Ash and I are, promoting that you guys find someone to trade with. And if that's us, happy days. Ask us anything you like. We think that's fantastic. That's why we do this show, and we call it Trading Buddies. But as of next week, I think it is, don't hold me to that time frame, but as of next week, we're looking to give you guys an avenue to, I can't use the phrase hook up because that's got different connotations these days. Connect would be the best way to put it. Connect with other people who have got either like-minded things. So maybe you've come from the ATW school of trading and you trade the Daily Wave Rider, and you want to run these thoughts across somebody else who is trading the Daily Wave Rider. Or maybe you've got somebody who's trading something completely different and you want to learn from them how they do what they do. Or you just want to run something past somebody when, Ash and I aren't here.
Yeah, we got there are a couple of questions in the room, mate. I've got Lewis and Jira as well are both asking questions. Now, guys, do you want to come on mic and ask these? You don't have to come on camera if you don't want to, but do you want to come on mic, Lewis, and ask this question? We might be able to get a bit more one-on-one kind of conversation going on. You comfortable with that, mate?
Jira, I've got 3 questions from you as well, and I'll answer those shortly. Don't worry.
Why
did I trade the monthly? Yeah, look, Lewis, I'm not that perturbed about risk to reward, only about winning. And I don't consider. Let me.
Here's
talk
Lewis.
About. Oh, here's Lewis. Here he is, mate. You've got an issue around. You've got an issue around EuroCAD, right?
Yeah, the one that you have just put in the monthly trade on the money chart.
Yep.
So I was just wondering, because as in the money chart, the candle is super big, so the ROI is basically very poor. So why aren't we looking at entry in either the daily chart or the weekly chart?
Always am, mate. Always am. And I was going to actually mention this today. The daily chart is very, very interesting because we do have a beautiful little bar there that is telling me there's a potential false break. So we've come back underneath the channel, which is a trade line, and we've retested that. We've also had a rejection of the monthly pivot, weekly pivot, and daily pivot. So that bar is super interesting to me. However, I'm trading straight into DS1 if I'm trading on a daily chart. What I would prefer to happen, because I've got a confluence area there as well in this trade line, right? I'd prefer that to break, come back and retest it, maybe even at that confluence area, then I can go short. So to me, it's not clear enough on the daily chart. The weekly chart, I'm waiting for exactly the same thing to happen. So I want a bull bar here to appear. And if this is bullish this week, happy days, then I can trade it short. But you'll note with, I suppose, interest or disdain, one or the other, that I don't trade bearish bars short. I just don't do that. I trade bullish bars short. And that's why I'm looking at the monthly chart, because the only bullish bar that I've got, you could call it bullish, I suppose. To me, it's bearish, but it's got a white body. And that's the reason I see an opportunity, because if this is to go with momentum, if there is momentum here, it's going to go that way.
5 minutes.
And if I'm wrong, beg pardon?
Busy, wait.
Does that now make sense? I don't have a setup, is what I'm saying, really.
Yeah, I think there's valid on your point. I mean, on your strategy. Yeah. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, you're welcome, mate. Look, it's all about the waiting game for me. I don't necessarily trade what I think, but what I see. And if I don't see a setup, and I've got to admit to you 100% that I want to change that. I actually want to change from a setup trader to a analysis trader, if you like. My analysis is always there, but if I can find a way, and this is one of those ways, I think that this double top and this lower high, potential lower high, is signaling a big fall, and that big fall could come down to here. So what am I risking? 500 pips. If I'm risking 500 pips to make 3,500 pips, suddenly that's not such a bad thing. So, you know, I'm not chasing here. I'm not chasing here. This is just to get safe in the market. I'm chasing down here at the end of the day. So, you know, I don't see it as such a bad reward to risk if you're thinking that far ahead, you know, and that's where I'm thinking down here. So I hope that helps, mate.
I've just Jira, I've just got your PM, mate, and I've just sent that to James. Steph, is it true that monthly, weekly, and daily must be stacked in this order for a bullish bias and vice versa for a bearish buyer? Are you talking about the pivots there, Steph? Monthly, weekly, daily? Sorry, can't come on. No problem.
I think
actually
just
working my real job. No worries at all. Yeah, the pivots. Yes, the pivots. What you got, Jeff?
Oh, sorry. We must have a bit of a lag here. No, I thought that Steph was talking about the charts, not the pivots. You were right. She's talking about the pivots.
Yes.
Now, I'm a pivot trader, so I'll answer the question from my point of view.
Yeah.
I'm also not a trend trader. But what the pivots do for me, if the monthly, weekly, and daily are in sequence, then that confirms a trend for me. Doesn't necessarily confirm my bias. My bias is determined by where price is in relation to, if I'm trading intraday, the daily pivot. If I'm trading intra-week or end of day, if you like, it'll be the weekly pivot. If I'm trading on a monthly chart, it's going to be the monthly pivot, right? So yes, the pivots in order or in chronological order do confirm a trend for me, but they don't necessarily confirm the direction I want to trade in that day or that week or that month. I know that's probably a little bit confusing, but that's kind of the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it's also a really a valid way to trade as well. I mean, if you sort of if we you know let's just do a very quick and relatively unscientific, because it is so quick. But let's just do a quick test on this step as well. So if we look at this, well, let's just go through some of these. There's the monthly. There's the monthly there. In actual fact, let's go back a little bit. Now look at what happens here. The weekly's under the monthly there, but then all of a sudden on this chart, this is the euro dollar, it steps above at that particular point. Now look at the trend that happens. The daily's above the weekly, daily's above the weekly. So perfectly in alignment. Daily's above the weekly, daily's above the weekly. And really this little area here was one point where maybe there was a hint that the trend was under a little bit of stress, and another one's happened here under stress. But it is a very valid way to kind of look for trends, because
Absolutely.
You know what we know, if we think about what the pivots are telling us, is that this period's price action is higher than the previous period's price action. So price action month over month is higher from this particular point here. But we are starting to see here that that would have caused a valid, or that would have been a valid point of analysis to say that we've got a decent trend going on. But let's have a look through some more. Here's the this is the point where the weekly goes above the monthly on the Aussie yen, and again, okay, you might be waiting for this point before the daily is above the weekly, which is the price action's up here, but price action is higher here than it was when it first happened here, and I think you could probably go through. Look at this mess. Mess here, and price action wasn't really a mess. Okay, this area here is where it gives us the signal, and we get a decent trend out of it. Then we get some messy price action here. So yes, you'd have missed out on a little bit of a chunk here, but this area here, I would argue, is a lot cleaner than this area here. You know, while the pivots are in the correct kind of order, if you like, for a trend, it's a lot cleaner here than it is here. So it's a really valid way to trade. I mean, you may well be waiting for a while before you get any trades, but it doesn't matter, does it? If the trades that you take are of higher quality, then waiting is no bad thing. Again, we see the same thing here and here. Look at the two trends that we see with the Aussie CAD. Pivots are in the right order from this point here, if you like. That's when the daily pivot pops up. There's the price action point there, and price is higher. So it's very good.
People will trade those crossovers as well, mate, similar to EMA crossovers or moving average crossovers. As soon as they cross, you know, there's a very strong history around that pointing to the next direction. And, you know, to my mind, the pivots are very much leading indicators because they're already on your charts, right?
Yeah, they are absolutely right. You know, another example here of a nice trend to the upside. I mean, you know, I haven't actually picked anything yet that wouldn't have made money. You know, this is a very, very valid way to trade. And I'll tell you what, we could even do a little test on it. You know, why don't we sort of start having a look through some of these charts, and we'll do a test on it and see what it comes back with, see what the results are when it comes back with. So we'll do a test for over the first quarter of this year. So we'll take it up to March. We'll log the results and see what kind of profit that we'll make from it. So Steph, you might well have
the results may surprise you.
Yeah, absolutely, and you may well have a trading strategy that you can trade, and we can refine it. So let's do that. Let's do that over the next over the course of the next 3 months, and we will post it into the Telegram group.
You're going to go, buddy. You'll be in trouble.
I better go. Yeah. So Angel, I'm going, but
before you go, I think I know why you mentioned Stellar just now and the Arab thing. Stellar is the only Sharia compliant coin.
That's the wording I was looking for. That's the wording.
In the Middle East, Kuwait and all, they were using Ripple for transfers.
Right.
That means Ripple goes down. Stellar really, really benefits. Okay, guys?
Yeah, thank you, buddy. That's the words I was looking for. The only Sharia compliant coin. That was the terminology that I was after. Well, Steph, you are very, very welcome. Okay, I better shoot off. Jeff's going to stay in the room with you guys, so just to wrap things up. But I will be back tomorrow as always. Have a great afternoon. Good to see you, Jeff. I'll see you tomorrow, buddy.
See you tomorrow, buddy. You put them in the Telegram group if they're winners, right?
What the monthly pivot thing?
And no, anything. If there's a trade, just put it in the Telegram group, right?
I certainly will. I certainly will be putting trades in the Telegram group. Yeah.
See you, buddy. Have a good day.
See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.
And those of you who've got no idea what I'm talking about with the Telegram group, you can join our Telegram group, which is pretty much an after session for us. And we kind of put posts in there throughout the day and throughout the evening. In my case, when I'm asleep, Ash is generally up. And you can do that for free for the next 29 days. It was 30 days as of yesterday. And the link, if you're on YouTube, I think is below us. I think Angel will probably put it in that chat anyway. So to Gire's questions on Aussie Swissy, he was looking, I better share screen, hey? He was looking at my strategy, the slingshot, and looking for potential shorts on Aussie Swissy and Aussie yen. I agree with the sentiment, but I'm not sure I've got a setup right now, to be honest, Gire. I've got a little trade line sitting here. I've probably got another one here, though it is a little bit tight on the 4-hour chart. Nice confluence, daily pivot, support trade line, resistance trade line. The issue I would have at the moment is that we've got pivots acting as support or potentially acting as support. What I would like to see if I am thinking of trading this short, which probably I have got a little bit of a bias short term, if you like, starting to get a little bit knocked about, however, because we've got a left shoulder here, head, right shoulder. We're challenging that right now. If we were to sneak underneath here and the pivots, daily pivot, weekly pivot, trade line, and come back and retest that confluence, I think you've got a trade on your hands, most definitely. At the moment, I think it's probably a little bit too early. I don't see a reversal pattern apart from the potential for the head and shoulders. And for me to trade short against the trend, which is clearly long, I need to see a reversal pattern. Okay, it's the head and shoulders, but the way I'd have to trade a head and shoulders is not off the shoulder as Ash does, but I need to see the neckline break, which is this area here. So I need to see this come down, take these levels out and retest them. So I don't see a trade there for me at the moment on Aussie Swissy, and Aussie Yen's pretty much exactly the same. Again, I see the potential for a head and shoulders. This one's a little bit clearer in terms of where the shoulder may form, and this may well be it. But I don't have the right to trade that as a lower high just yet because I don't have the reversal pattern. Hasn't come back inside a range. It's still raging as far as I'm concerned. So it's too early for me to trade that short. So I hope that helps. I know there was another question from Lewis, Swissy Yen. Now, Swissy Yen was in my watch list this morning, and I'll share that with you. I've got Pound Aussie and CAD Yen on it as well. Thing for me is, and most of you who have been hanging around the Ash and Jeff, whatever we called our shows prior to now, Learn to Trade Live, blah, blah, blah. I'm quite biased short here. And the reason I'm quite biased short is because we're at a very substantial resistance area. And the further I go out here, the more it becomes clear to me that this resistance area is super solid. Why would I think now is the time for this level to break? And if I can come up with an answer for that, then I can come up with a reason to trade short, or at least a reason to look to trade short, but to trade long if it were to break. But I can't find a reason for that. If I isolate this area here, 2014, I'd probably go back and have a look and see, well, what happened in that time? Well, the answer would be the one that I know on the 1st of January 2015. This candle would have been the result of, actually it's back into, that's interesting. I would have thought that it is, absolutely. That's the decoupling of the Swissy to the euro, right? And that was the reaction that the market had. It was on its way up, no question, but it very, very quickly came back underneath there and hasn't been able to get above that level since, around about the 117 mark, right? So why now? And that's the question I have to ask myself. Why would that possibly break this level now? And, you know, there's a very popular theory, a conventional theory, a conventional wisdom, as I call it, would have this level breaking at some stage. And I agree with that. But why now? What's going to cause that to happen right now? And in the absence of a good reason, then guess what? I've got to have a short bias. So that's exactly where I'm at. Okay, so let me bring that down to a potential trade. And we've come off the top of the most recent range. This is on a 4-hour chart. So I'm looking for a lower high. There would be no better position than right here and right now for that to happen, because we've got the confluence of daily pivot, weekly pivot, and a mini inside range that I've pointed out there as well. But as always, I'm a setup guy. I've got to look for a setup, and I don't have that setup right now. I'd love this to break above these levels and then give me a reversal bar. That would be my trigger to go short, but absolutely short biased on Swissy Yen without question. CAD Yen is not dissimilar, and I had this line on my chart. I think I shared this with you earlier, around about the 81.72 mark as the potential for a lower high. Again, double top, same scenario. We've got a strong resistance area. We have broken that, interestingly. So this could well break and continue on. I don't have a problem with that. What I am looking for, however, is once again exactly the same scenario. Looking for a bounce off support, looking for a lower high, then I can trade it short. At the moment, I just don't see that, but I definitely see the potential for that to happen. And this was the line I chose this morning, 81.72. And as you can see, we're now playing on that level exactly. So if I were to see this bar, if not that keen on it, to be fair, but if we got a bit of consolidation here, maybe that's the bar I'm looking for, that one. if I saw that there, then I'd be more than happy to trade it. I could possibly see something that looks a little bit like it. So when this candle closes, if it does look anything like that, then that's a trade short for me. It's preempting a lower high, right? Or even a ringed high. It's preempting that. More than willing to trade it. Would I be taking profit at the pivots? You bet I would. And then looking to get safe in the market and then go on with the job and trade it. Maybe, I don't know, second take profit's got to be down here somewhere. And if we get really lucky, we'll come back to these levels. I don't see this reversing multiple levels. I definitely see this stopping here and then even potentially going long again. But at the moment, we're under the influence, in my opinion, of a short cycle. And I don't see any reason why we wouldn't look to trade that short. The last one I'm going to leave you with is Pound Aussie. And Pound Aussie, I can't see, frankly, why the pound could be traded long. I really don't, given the absolute mess that the UK is in. It just, logic to me says no. Technically, absolutely it's there. You've got a beautiful double, triple bottom, call it what you want. You've got an ascending triangle sitting there. So this has got every right from a technical perspective to break to the high side and maybe even challenge the monthly pivot. And I wouldn't have a problem with that. However, again, my bias suggests to me that this can't go long for a long time or even an intermediate time. It's got to pull back. Sorry, it's got to go short. The best way is to find a structure in your chart, look for a false break of that structure. Have we got that already? Maybe we have, maybe we haven't. I'll certainly be looking for a lower high to confirm that. But the best case scenario for me would be for this to break out to here, find this confluence area, which is around about that level, let's say. If it were to hit there, come back underneath that trade line, then retest both the top of that ascending triangle, trade line, horizontal level, throw them all together. That's a short for me. And that's my focus. Are there any trades at the moment? No. Let me check on the pound. Has it triggered? No, it hasn't. It's gone into consolidation. The market is a little bit on the indecisive side at the moment. So guys, that's where we're at. That's what I'm seeing. You've heard what Ash is seeing. If you haven't taken advantage of the free Telegram group, the links are all over the place. I think that's it there. Trading Buddies Inner Circle. The link is in the chat box. Please feel free to jump into there and you'll see what Ash and I are thinking throughout the day. And hopefully we can put you into some nice trades there as well. Any trades that we take in the show, we will manage for you in there as well. That is our want, and hope you can join us in there. Guys, that's the show for today. Thank you very much for your company. As always, it's your show, and that's why we call it Trading Buddies. You can be our buddy, and that's exactly what we would like to do. Thank you, Angel, for staying for the extra few minutes, and it is now time to say bye-bye for now. See you guys.